What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Create. And today, guys, we are going to be turning infinite cobblestone into infinite iron. Now, this is something that I've wanted to set up for quite some time now. In the last episode, we finally got around to setting up a mechanical drill cobblestone farm, which is going to supply us with the infinite cobblestone we need to actually make this setup usable. Now, I would advise you to go watch that episode if you do not already have a setup that provides you with infinite cobblestone, just because the cobblestone itself is going to turn into iron nuggets at a pretty low rate. And so if you're not inputting a ton of cobblestone into this setup, you're not really going to get much out of it. But if you are inputting a lot of cobblestone, you're going to be able to get a significant amount of iron out of it. I think it's going to be a really useful setup, and quite honestly, I'm excited for the amount of time it's going to save me that I do not have to go mining when we're prepping for every episode. So suffice to say, I'm ready to get this thing set up, and thankfully, it's actually really simple to set up. So we're going to sleep before we actually start this episode, since we want it to be a nice, bright day for such an amazing build. And then we can come over and right in this chest right here, a lot of this stuff should look very familiar. And that's because if you saw one of the earlier episodes in the series where we set up the ore processing setup that actually involved washing the ore, this setup is almost exactly the same as that. The entire process is similar, except for one area where we are filtering something out. And so it's got an additional chest there. Otherwise, it's going to be the exact same, which is awesome. If you've already seen that episode, you know pretty much everything you need to know to actually make this setup, but we're going to go through it again in case you haven't seen that or you want a quick refresher. So everything is going to start out with 2 crushing wheels. That is how we are going to turn the cobblestone that we are getting into gravel. And the cobblestone to gravel is a 1-to-1, so you're going to get a ton of gravel out of this, and then that is going to get washed by using an encased fan and blowing water across it, and that is going to output both flint and iron nuggets. You're going to have a 25% chance of getting flint, which in our case really isn't useful. We're going to be ditching it later. If you're playing with other mods that actually make use of flint, then by all means you can keep it, but in the case of using just create, there's really nothing to do with it, so we're going to dump it into fire somewhere. Just because of the amount that we're going to be getting, it's not worth storing, and we can't just let it despawn. Then we're going to be getting iron nuggets at a 12% chance. So like I said, you're not really getting that many. But again, if you're inputting a ton of cobblestone into this, eventually you're going to be getting some iron out of it. Then after that, we've got the extractor and the funnel and the filter and the transposer, which is all going to be used on a chest in terms of sorting, using the extractor to dump the flint out into a fire, which is why we have the nether rack here, using the funnel to make sure that we're not pulling gravel into the chest, but we're only getting in the iron nuggets. And the flint using the filter. And then after that, we're going to be putting stuff in the basin with the mechanical press, which is going to turn the iron nuggets into iron bars. And then those are going to be pulled out using another transposer and put into another chest. Now we've got just the miscellaneous things here like gearboxes, the typical encased fan magma block setup that I use for power. And that's pretty much it. So we can grab all this stuff out and actually get to work, because we're going to try and keep this nice and simple. Now I did make a new room down here for us to set this up in, which I think is going to be really cool. So if you didn't see last episode, this is where we have our mechanical drill set up. And we have a fair bit of cobble in here now. It's been running for a little bit, but I think it's probably backed up in here a fair bit. Let's see how far it goes. So that one's full. That one's full. Okay, yeah. So it's backed up pretty far. So we're pretty much ready to put this cobblestone to good use. But what we have over here is I redirected the hoppers around here, and we're going to set it up starting on this wall. So the first things we need to do is the crushing wheels. I'll put these down just to show you, but the crushing wheels are going to go right like this. And that's because we're going to be able to take a hopper, and I should probably get out something to build on. But if we come up here, we're able to put the hopper down right here. And this is going to drop items down into the crushing wheels. So we're going to put the crushing wheels right here and right here. And so we want to have the shafts out for those to be attached to, and then we're going to want to have the encased fans, and we're going to build it back just a little bit because they do obviously need to have inverted rotation. So one of these is going to need a gearbox to flip it so that they spin into each other. So we'll come back here and we'll see the way they're spinning before we determine that. So if the shaft is going to be here, we could put one of the gearboxes here, which means we'll have another gearbox here and an encased fan right here and a magma block right here. So let's see. We got the levers for them too. So we got magma block, encased fan. We got the lever to go right there. And let's see once we put down the gearbox, what way this is spinning. So this is the one that's going to have it rotated. So I am just going to throw down one of these gearboxes right here. We can put down the shaft right here. And you can see now it is spinning towards where the other crushing wheel is going to be. And we can cover this up right here to make it look a little bit nicer. And then throw down the first crushing wheel. So there we go. And over here, we're going to be doing the same thing. So magma block right here. And I guess technically we could actually do the magma block right there, encased fan right there, gearbox right here. We could actually move it up one because we don't need room for the additional gearbox to be put down. So we'll cover this up. We'll get the encased fan out. Whoops. Got to shift click it on there. Oh, you know what? We got to have an area for the lever though. We can just come over here and put it down. So we'll get the lever, get out the gearbox and the crushing wheel. Where is our gearbox? Right here. So there we go. We'll put down the shaft, cover all this stuff up. Oh, these actually need to be, if we're trying to make it actually look nice in here, those need to be the smooth slabs. So there we go. And there we go. Put down the crushing wheel. So now these are actually good to go. If we were to throw some cobble in here, you can see it drops it in and we will start getting our gravel out. So first step is actually done, which is awesome. This is actually probably the most annoying step to set up. So the next thing we need to do is wash the gravel. And I guess really we can decide which way we want it to be pushed because we can probably have it, you know what, let's have it on this side of the room. So we'll start right over here and I'm going to try and cover up part of this in the wall. But what we want is to have the water being blown across this block right here. And we can have it move over into a chest right here at this corner. So we'll put down one of these chests right here. And then we're going to put down the funnel right on this. We'll grab out our filter right here. And we're going to put flint and iron nuggets in there. Click yes, and then throw that on the front. Now, the reason we do this is because what's going to happen is instead of putting the gravel on a belt and having it go in front very slowly, in front of the water being blown across it, we're going to allow the water to blow across it on the floor. It's also going to move the items right over into this funnel, but they're not going to actually be able to go in here because of the filter until it is properly converted. So the only thing we got to make sure of is that the items actually get blown far enough over here, meaning the encased fan needs to be strong enough. And so we're probably going to put the water itself right here, which means the first encased fan is going to be right there, which means that we need a gearbox and an encased fan right here, most likely. Now I say most likely because we need to make sure it is rotating the right way. So there's the possibility we have to move it back one. So we'll do magma block right here. Then we'll do an encased fan and we're going to want to see, like I said, which way it is rotating. So let's throw down a lever right here. Oh, so many things that I got to pull out onto my hotbar. Okay, so let's see if we throw down a gearbox, what way, if it's blowing or if it's pulling air in. Okay, so it's blowing, phenomenal. So let's make sure that it's able to blow all the way over onto this block. Yep, this is a little bit, it's a little bit weird, a little bit stuck inside there, but it is able to blow it across to this block. Eventually, it will stop blowing items, so you want to make sure that it's able to get them pressed right up against this funnel so they actually go in this chest. But everything should be good over here. So what we can do is fill this back in, right like that, and then we will put the water down and encase it with these slabs so that the water itself stays there. And you can see that while a regular block would completely block this, if you only have the upper slab there, it does not block the air going through. So you don't need to use a sign. You can make it look nicer and actually use the stone slabs on the top. But now you can see it's blowing over here. And so now if we were to go in here and put some cobble in here and watch the process, it'll drop the gravel out. Those are going to get washed as they come across here, slowly get blown over, be pushed right up here, and nothing happens until they turn. And then you are going to get, you can see we already have 3 iron nuggets and 6 flint. Got 5 and 8, so we're actually getting a fair bit of iron nuggets. The percentage really isn't that amazing, but it seems we're getting pretty lucky with these. So you end up with a fair bit of items here, but really all we care about are the iron nuggets. So a quick thing that we can do is we can come right over here, and we're actually going to hop back on this side to do this, just because I want to keep it out of the way. But we're going to come down here, and we are going to light a thing of netherrack on fire, because we want to ditch the flint. So we're going to be throwing them into the fire, and the way we do that is using the extractor. So we'll throw that down on this side of the chest, and I just made a stupid move because it threw the iron nuggets we had also out of here, because we have to add a filter to this. So we'll put the flint there, and now we should be fine. We're not going to lose our iron nuggets. Only the flint is going to be thrown over here into the fire, and then we can cover up right up here so that it looks nice. So that's going to get ditched over there. Now, the reason that we're not just allowing these to despawn is because we are going to be having so much cobble put in here that you would have hundreds and hundreds of pieces of flint sitting on the ground. We have to have a way to get rid of them. If you're playing with a different mod and you have the trash cans or, a void pipe or something, that's probably your best bet. But here, we're either going to be throwing it into lava or into fire, something like that. So we got that set up in the back there, just kicking it out. You could technically store it somewhere, but again, you're going to have so much that you're not going to have anything to do with it. So I don't really see a huge point. But now we're left with just the iron nuggets. And so we're going to come over and use a transposer to put those into a basin. So we'll put the basin right there. We'll attach a transposer right here. And then we are going to filter out. You don't technically need to do this, but I'm going to. We're going to filter out 9 iron nuggets. Now, the reason we're putting it to 9, and it really doesn't matter, you can just have it go 1 in here, but if I ever wanted to grab out iron nuggets themselves, because we do use those, you'll be able to have 1 in here on its own, and so you won't have to grab out iron, and then, have it convert it back down. But I want to have them both accessible, whereas once the iron nuggets are in here, you're not going to be able to grab them. So just something to keep in mind. I'm doing that as a personal preference, but you don't have to. It's totally fine if you have 8 iron nuggets sitting in here. Nothing is going to happen until the 9th one comes in. Then you have the mechanical press come down and make the iron ingot, and then everything's good. So again, you don't really have to do that. Personal preference, but I'd like to be able to grab out iron nuggets from in here when we have sub 9 and actually use those for different things too, since we do use a lot of iron nuggets in Create for different crafts. So now we actually have to set up the mechanical press. Super easy to do. So if we look right here, when we click it down, it's going to be right up here, which means the encased fan can go right back here. So we'll do encased fan right here. We'll do magma block, encased fan, lever, and we're going to need to convert one of those gearboxes. So like this. Nice and simple gearbox, and then shaft, because we want to keep it all behind the wall, and then we can cover it up. So we'll fill that in. There we go. So now whenever this has 9 ingots or 9 nuggets in there, it'll smash down, make the very pleasing sound, and we will have an ingot which we can pull out using this transposer. And you don't actually have to set a filter on this because it's only able to pull out things that have finished crafting. So if we did come over here and let's say put this iron nugget in, it wouldn't actually pull it out. It would just sit in there. So we can drop this back in here. And I think the moment of truth has come. This should be where all of our iron ends up, which means we can come up here and connect. We'll have to grab this hopper right here. Oh, you know what? That was a mistake. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a pain to do. You know what? I'm going to come over here and grab an additional hopper while we work through this, because we're going to have to break that hopper and replace the block below it so the lava doesn't spill out. So that's going to be a little bit annoying to do to getting access to this, but we can come over here and first go like this, and then we're going to have to turn that hopper. So let's come down here so we have better access to this. This hopper is going to have to get turned, but let's see how quick we can be with this. You know what? We'll scroll for it. There we go. Okay. Nice and easy. No big deal. That should not be there. Now we can just toss these in here real quick, free up some inventory space, come over, and we're going to have to find a way to properly connect these So I guess let's let's go all the way under here. And let's get out the hopper, and we can fix this without having to mess stuff up too much. Okay, so we'll do that, and then connect it there. Okay, so I think everything should be connected now. All the hoppers are pushing into each other. Very nice. And we can fill this in, and then just use the nice smooth stone slabs right here. And I think that should be good. So short of pulling out the rest of this, I think... Yep, this system is running. There's just a huge backlog of cobble that's got to make it through here. But we should end up getting a fair bit of iron nuggets and stuff in here. So what I might do is allow this to run for a bit and then hop back and see, because it might take a little bit. Seems we're getting unlucky with some of the iron nuggets. Or you know what, I might just save that for next episode. We'll watch this process one set. You can see it comes down and we get the iron ingot. But you can see that we have a lot of cobble to go through here, and I still have this whole chest, and this is backlogged all the way up to here, so it's going to be a little bit. This is not running anymore because we are not bone mealing stuff out here, so we're not getting the trees growing as much to power the arc furnace. We have gotten a lot of charcoal in here, but yeah, so that's totally fine with me. We'll be able to get through a backlog of cobble here, so we can finally get rid of this chest. But yep, we now have an infinite iron generating setup, which I think looks really cool. Now we'll probably have the gold generating setup going in a room next to this. We might have a walkway right through here. I might open up the room more and have them both go to the same chest. But we have a lot more to set up using this cobblestone, so we're going to have to sort of start splitting things off. There'll be a way that we do that. That might be next episode. It might be the episode after. It'll definitely be soon, but I mainly cared about iron because I'm sure you guys can agree, especially if you've played immersive engineering and have PTSD from that in terms of how much iron you use on every build, that iron in modded Minecraft is the most important. So hopefully you guys had fun watching the episode today, mainly because it's super simple, but I think the infinite resource generation you could do with mods is just sometimes so cool. I would definitely set this up in your world if you're playing with the Create mod. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.
Standing in a glass bowl at the end of a black hole, cold, lost and upside down. Faces swirling past me, all my memories rolling back.